Welcome back, lovely people. So today I am trying a new format where I'm going to cook kind of outside and hoping that it is a little bit more chill and quieter. I'm making peach ice cream today, Martha Stewart's peach ice cream. So on the weekend I was looking for something to just veg out to on the couch and catching up on some Netflix, I guess. Like these days, I don't really get a lot of time to watch videos or shows and things like that. I mean, I got a family, I have work. I guess I have to go to the gym sometimes and cook and miscellaneous stuff, which doesn't leave a lot of time to binge out. So recently, I had the holidays and school holidays. So I found myself with like 2 weeks of nothing to do but relax. And there was a show that I wanted to watch called The Bear. And The Bear's like, I don't know, a critically acclaimed cooking type of show. Sorry. And you know, watching The Bear really got me in the mood to cook, I guess. At least it got me thinking about cooking and cooking in a way where I'd want to film it and you know, talk to it and stuff. Which has been, you know, really good to get that feeling again, because I've been a little tired and life gets in the way of making content. So step one was getting somewhat inspired. Not that I actually ended up making anything during the holidays, actually. I just thought that might be a good idea. So maybe, and I think I'm a little bit late to the whole The Bear party anyways. Cola ribs or mash, something like that. But, you know, maybe I will do something. So why am I making peach ice cream today? Back to Martha Stewart, a very iconic figure of which I knew next to nothing about. To be frank, she seemed a little boring and dull, and my memory of her was some sort of, I don't know, homemaking goddess type rich old lady who went to jail for tax fraud or something like that. But I like docos. I like documentaries as a genre. So I found Martha on Netflix, and as the name suggests, it is about her life. So I started watching it, and I think I realized that I knew nothing about her, and she had a very interesting life story. Apologies if you do intend to watch it. You know, I hope I don't give too much away, but I always think something that's a good doco or good film, it doesn't really matter if you know thematically how it goes, it doesn't ruin it. So I'll talk to the themes. Martha Stewart grew up in a family that didn't have too much, like a simple kind of family where, I don't know, the dad had to do a lot of gardening and he was a bit of a perfectionist. And she tells us that that's where she really learnt a lot of things, how to be handy, how to garden, how to be detail-oriented because her dad was, and kind of exacted that standard. So that really stayed with her. And her mother was a great cook, and she would spend lots of time with her mum in the kitchen, learning how to make great meals from scratch. So, you know, it sounds like a pretty ordinary kind of upbringing. And then Martha was quite a looker in her youth. So to bring in extra money, she started modeling as a teenager, I think, or yeah, a teenager. And she was also quite bright. So she got some sort of scholarship to go to university. And then, you know, you start understanding that Martha might be quite an interesting character, because in the opening scene, when she sits down, she tells us about a moment of infidelity with early on in her marriage, and she describes it as like nothing but a thing, and she doesn't hold her husband to the same kind of rules. So what he does is unacceptable, but what she did meant nothing. So she's quite interesting like that. Maybe you would call that slightly psychopathic, but sociopathic, whatever that word is. So I think throughout the film, throughout the doco, you get the Martha of current day. So Martha Stewart is a senior citizen. I think she looks great, but she's possibly 80. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know. You can look it up. You can ask Claude or ChatGPT or something. She's being interviewed. She's been interviewed about her life story, and then it sort of interweaves with pictures of her, articles of her, and you take a kind of wild ride through what she's gone through. And I had this distinct sensation that I was watching the story of a real badass. I just don't really know how else to describe it, but she's a fucking boss, excuse my French. So what makes me say that? This is taking a long time to chop up these peaches. I think these peaches are from my local organic fruit shop, and something sometimes about organic fruit is that they're sometimes not as big as the conventional fruit. They're so cute though, but they're quite ripe. I think it's probably a great way to make use of overripe fruit, putting them in ice cream. And I'm hoping this is great, because this is the first time I've ever made ice cream. And look, I don't have an ice cream maker, so I had a quick look at ways to make ice cream without an ice cream maker, and I trust the interwebs to make that come through for me. Hopefully it works. And I don't normally eat fruity ice creams. It's not my go-to. So yeah, this is a big experiment. So what makes me say that the story of Martha made me think she was a real badass? Well, firstly, you've got to remember the context of Martha Stewart, the era. So I think she really came to great commercial success in the 80s. You know, there's no hashtag boss bitch or whatever. She certainly probably was the front-running candidate for that. All right, so we have a bowl of chopped peaches, and then now we're going to put I think this is probably the equivalent of maybe half a dozen peaches, medium-sized ones. So, quarter cup of fine sugar, caster sugar, and then I forgot to bring a spoon out, so let's see about this tossing action and hope for the best. Let's macerate the fruit so the sugar will help it release the juice, and we're going to let it sit in here, according to Martha Stewart. Of course, this recipe says for at least 2 hours to let the peaches soften and release their fruit. So I think that looks pretty good, and I'll be back to continue the rest in a little bit. And we are back. So it hasn't been 2 hours. I haven't been that patient because I want to wrap this up tonight. And I did forget to mention that Martha says every 15 minutes or so give your macerated peaches a good stir. So I've been really doing that and massaging them. And they look pretty juicy. So this is the method I'm going to try out, is to make the ice cream in a double ice kind of bath. So I've got lots of ice cubes in here. I'm going to put my bowl on top. So first things first, let's whip up, I believe, the eggs and cream and sugar. I really know what I'm doing, so yeah, trust in Ange. 1 egg and 1 egg yolk. So for extra richness, I think we've got to do something about the... as a kid, I always really loved doing this part. When I would help my mum, it's like very therapeutic, eating just a little eggy there, a little Gudetama baby. So whip that up with a quarter cup of sugar and the cream in a moment. But what I'm going to do is I've wrangled on high speed, made my own little rotating bowl, rotated by me. Okay, that's looking fab. We've got this kind of creamy, frothy consistency, and then we're going to put the cream in. So this is, need 250 mils. Oh, she's thick. See if I can keep my black t-shirt black. Who needs a stand mixer? I actually really wouldn't mind one. I'm thinking about a KitchenAid for Christmas, I don't know. Very expensive. I'm pretty happy with that. So it's nice and thickened up. I'll get rid of this. So Martha, why is she pretty amazing in terms of what you discover in the doco is she was somebody that turned the domestic realm, cooking, gardening, growing your own food, entertaining your friends, she turned it into a high art and very extravagant, very romanticized, and she did this on a very large scale. So she was selling, I suppose, a bit of a dream to women of the day that, look, if you watch me and you listen to, she loved to teach, and you listen to me, maybe you too could be a hostess with the mostest. But because she was so competent and so confident, I think she was really appealing in that way, where the way that she lived was really the way that she was portraying herself was really her life. And I think that is something people really disliked, because it was very unattainable, but it was also still something that was extremely consumable and watchable. And I think Martha says to mash it a little bit with a potato masher, so I will. I obviously had no idea, because it was quite a while ago, how popular she was, how she started her own media company to make magazines and TV shows back during a time when the publishers and those businesses were operated by people who really couldn't understand the appeal of this and didn't really want to fund that. But she did manage to get some investors for that, and then she called it a omni-media strategy. You've got print, you've got TV, and it grew and it took off and became extremely successful, to the point where she was able to take a company and IPO it, which is the American dream. So we've got vanilla essence. Use really great vanilla essence if you're in Melbourne, Australia. I really love the Hey Lala brand. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it is awesome. So about half a teaspoon, which I'll just eyeball. And then half a cup of milk goes in there as well. Full cream, please. So Martha gets her business to the stage where you can IPO it, which is a really big deal, of course, and becomes the first woman founder, CEO, boss lady to do such a thing in corporate America. And in the doco, she becomes the first billionaire, the first female billionaire, self-made, 100% self-made. And what we're going to do next is just pour that peach mixture into the custardy ice cream mixture. So if you put this whole story together, which I've whizzed through very quickly, it is quite remarkable what she's managed to achieve. Which I found really fascinating. You know, I kind of had no idea. And through it all, there's this story arc about her personality, which is both a blessing and possibly a curse. She's a perfectionist. She's portrayed as somebody who is really uncompromising in regards of attention to detail, how she wants to run her company, every single interaction with her employees, and a bit of a bitch is how she's literally described. And I think it's interesting throughout the doco, they make a point of saying that perhaps if she was a man, she wouldn't face the same critique. The qualities she has of being really hard on people, extremely pedantic, because she's the founder CEO of her own company, ruthless, cold, not very warm, all these things may actually be seen as wonderful qualities if they were inversed on a man. Look, I don't know about that, but that was how the narrative went. So something I found interesting was back in the day before Instagram and YouTube, when she was around with her omni-media company, TV and print media, they described her as the first influencer. And I really love that term because if you think about what she was doing, which was she was creating a lifestyle brand centered around her, Martha Stewart living, Martha Stewart cooking, Martha Stewart entertainment, Martha Stewart weddings and babies, it was all around her and her brand. She was the product. And that is what I guess all these influencer types are trying to do as well, sort of make themselves the product, etc. That she was doing this in the 80s and 90s. So the first influencer, Martha Stewart. Respect. Okay, so I've got my peach ice cream going on, and now we're going to pop this in the freezer and pray to the ice cream gods. So I put these in shallow containers as Martha advises because it makes it easier to scoop out. This is what professional restaurants do. So we'll stick them in the freezer for overnight to 24 hours. I think 24 hours is better, apparently. So I'll try that out, and then I'll come back and serve it up and hope for some tasty ice cream. So see you then, okay? Okay, so it's been 24 hours, it's the next day, and my peach ice cream is all ready for the taste test. I have put on a dress in honor of the domestic goddess Martha Stewart. Not that I've ever seen her in a dress, I think she's more of a power suits pants lady, but I think I am trying to channel that vibe. Hostess with the mostest. So I have this beautiful crystal glassware. When I watched Martha make peach ice cream, it was a video from I think the 80s or maybe the early 90s. She had these wonderful little goblets, and I went to the local op shop to look for something similar, and I rescued this. There was only one, so it was clearly meant to be. Me and it's forever and ever. Let's scoop the ice cream out with I've let it sit out for a bit so I can get a bit melted. My ice cream is a little bit on the icy side. I think not having an ice cream maker to do the churning periodically doesn't help with the crystallization. However, it's something I need to get better at, and I will over time. Or I could just get an ice cream maker. We'll see, we'll see. There's lots of lovely peach bits in here. Gorgeous. And I'm going to decorate it with a maraschino cherry because they are cute. Even though I don't think they taste fantastic, they look fantastic. There we go. Okay. So, there we have it. My peach ice cream. Thank you, Martha. All right. Time for a taste test. Never had peach ice cream before, and I don't usually eat fruity ice cream, so here we go. I want a peachy bit. Tastes like summer. So good. All right, that is fantastic. It's a bright, fresh, fruity peach flavor that cuts the kind of decadent vanilla ice cream going on. The flavors are really pure, they're really unadulterated. It is just cream, milk, sugar and eggs with lots of fresh peaches. Brilliant, super simple. I think I'm going to be making more ice creams over time, so hopefully I can get better at it. Thank you, Martha. Martha, the girl who turned into a model, stockbroker, IPOing, billionaire, spent some jail time doing insider trading. That's okay, we won't hold that against her. The first influencer, peach ice cream. Thank you for tuning in, guys, and hope to see you next time. Ciao.